Hey, Scott Hilton, Scott Talks. Got a new playlist for you to listen to. If you have Spotify, check for this one 11 Spotify The Beatles. It's like a top 10 list, but I threw the new song in now and then. So it's 11. And this is top 10 that I saw listed on Spotify as popular, top 10 popular songs. And I was like, wow. I mean, let me know in your comments how I did. We got Now and Then. We'll try to play a touch. We got Here Comes the Sun, remastered 2009. Let It Be, remastered 2009. Let's get some art up here. Little art, please. Oh well, Spotify. They're not going to give it to me, are they? There's some nice art. Yeah, baby. Let's do that. Come Together, remastered 2009. There we go. That's good art. Remember when Michael Jackson did that song? He bought all the rights to all those Beatles songs. Blackbird, remastered 2009. Let's see if we're going to get YouTube off our back about all this music. Yesterday, remastered 2009. Something, remastered 2009. All righty. Hey Jude, 2015 mix.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad.
Twist and Shout, remastered 2009. All righty. I wonder if they were able to improve on John's voice. It was the last song they did when they did their first album. And they had some of their songs, but it's mostly a lot of other stuff because they were getting started. And that night, they recorded everything in one night. One day, one night, worked through lunch, George Martin and them, or whoever, was it Martin? No, maybe the other guy. They all went to the sound engineer. They went to lunch, and the Beatles were there working, and they stayed. Man, they were there all night. And John's voice was hoarse. You can hear it a little bit in his voice. He's hoarse. It's the last song. He's got his shirt off. He's hot, sweaty. He's like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to do it. We're going to do this last song. We're going to have an album. And he had to push on that song. I Love Her, remastered 2009. In My Life, remastered 2009. All righty. And Rubber Soul, the Beatles said Rubber Soul was like, they were just getting there. They were getting those new sound and everything, and then it all exploded with Sgt. Pepper. The drugs probably didn't. It helped a little bit, probably. Who knows? But there were lots of drugs going on. Just like Jimmy Buffett, when I read his autobiography, he had crazy life. But yeah, I love the Beatles. I put them on my daughter's iPod. She had an iPod. She was a little thing, and she was going to softball practice, and Dad was there sitting in the chair watching and playing with the iPod. Like, oh, this is cool. Put the little earbuds in and put in the music. So you just plug this in the computer and transfer songs. She's like, yeah. And I was like listening. Was probably listening to Fall Out Boy at that point, or someone like that. Some of the songs she liked, or Hey Bop, or something like that, or Britney. Something like that was probably playing back then. But so I went home and snuck on the computer, because it was my computer, and put in some Beatles, burned a Beatles CD on there. And then the next time we went to practice, I was just like, no, it was before that, because she found out. She was putting it on shuffle and got Beatles stuff and mixed in her stuff. And she's like, Dad, stop. Don't do that. I said, I just wanted to listen to it during practice. She get your own. I was like, oh yeah, I can do that. And eventually I got my own. Got my nice new shiny iPod. I was so happy. And a week later, Apple announced the new iPods. And I went, So now I'm really fanatical about knowing when these events are and when the phones are going to launch in late September, October. I'm just really on board. What are they going to release? What are the rumors? So don't buy anything. Don't buy a new phone yet, unless you just drop it and destroy it or something. But yeah, because I got my latest iPad mini, I love. And they got recommended songs here that add to it. I Want to Hold Your Hand, Imagine, All My Loving, Don't Let Me Down, Help, Eleanor Rigby, all great songs. It a testament to the Beatles, how great a band they were. I mean, like on a scale of 1 to 10, they were like a 15. When American Idol does Beatles night, they literally, they got this huge library and everyone does their own soulful renditions of a Beatles song because everyone knows them. All the people, any serious musician knows the Beatles. And when I was growing up, my daughter was like, who? Yeah, because kids. But after college, she had that appreciation for movies. We made her watch Casablanca. I said, this is classic. And at the end, she was on her phone, but in the end, she's like, so that's where all those great sayings came from? Play It Again, Sam, and all that stuff. I said, yeah, wasn't it a great movie? She goes, yeah, it was pretty good. And, a Spielberg movie, it's classic. And she's like, uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And she comes out of college, like, knowing about the Beatles, knowing about Spielberg and all some classic movies and all the importance of these things now. And they're like, really? Interesting. Okay, yeah, you keep thinking that. You keep going on. That you've learned something that nothing Daddy ever told you was right. Yeah. Dads know these things. It's better to tell them, get it in their little brains, and then when they're adults, they'll repeat it to you one day. And I've had that happen once or twice, and it just shocks the kids when you tell them, "Oh, that's what I told you. Remember when I told you that?" And they're like, "What?" No, I'm not turning to my parents. But yeah, going to listen to this today on my bike ride. Going to listen to my Beatles mix, my 11, my top 10 plus the one new one. That nice science and technology has made possible because they couldn't record it originally. They had the song, John had played parts, had it on recording, and it was bad recording, and they couldn't break through the fact it just wasn't working right. But Peter Jackson did that documentary on the Beatles and the making of how they made these songs. And you can actually see and hear clearly Paul McCartney talking and developing these hit songs, just sitting there in the chair with the other guys. Oh, what about this? Doing this and that. And you can actually hear it. And he asked Peter Jackson, how did you do that? Because it was crappy audio and all that. And they did the rooftop concert, and they had heard the rooftop concert. It was the best they could do with the sound and technology of the day, and they made it sound great. And he's like, what did you do? He said, those computers, they separate all this interference in the background stuff, and it makes it right. And he's like, really? Because we got this audio. When we recorded the new songs for the anthology, we couldn't record one because it was just too messed up. We just couldn't push our way through it. We want you to try to clear this one up. And they cleared it up. And then Paul and George had already passed, so Paul and Ringo finished it up because George did record on that song. They did try, so they recorded it as best they could. But, now and then they couldn't get right because of the background wasn't right, and they couldn't mix John in properly, and it was just get his voice coming through without all the interference and the bad edits and whatever, because he just kind of would record on a tape recorder and push the buttons and just sit there and play and record and stuff. And they were trying to make it right, but they couldn't. But so George did participate on it, and they weeded through all those recordings supposedly and blended it, and Ringo added some new stuff, and Paul added some new stuff, and it became the last true Beatles song, Now and Then. So I added that to the list. Had to be. So like, share, and subscribe if you learned anything. If you love the Beatles, give me a thumbs up. Share with your friends. And let's see if this might get monetized. It might not. It might say, no, you got music playing in the background. These are copyrighted songs, Scott. You can't have that. So if it doesn't get monetized, that's okay. That's okay. We had fun doing it, right? All right, and you can look for it. See if you can find it. I guess Spotify, it's public, I guess. I didn't put it private. So I hope it's there for you to find. Share. I got share. Share. Oh, no, I'm going to share with people. Share. Add to this playlist. Edit, name, create cover. Taste profile. Eat this playlist. What does that mean? Show Spotify code. Invite collaborators. No, we're not doing that. Add to other playlists. Delete playlists. Make playlist private. No, we're not doing that. So you should be public. I hope you find it. All right, and enjoy it. I've got a lot of playlists out there. I try to start them like with a 1 or a dash or something, zeros, and that kind of puts it near the top. And this one, that's why I did the 11. I had a Spotify playlist top 11 or whatever, and the A got left out and it went into the alphabet under T for top. So I changed it to 11. So it made it a little closer towards the top. That's the deal. Bye.